Think and Grow Rich. Now, I love this book so much that I'm going to do lots of little reviews of this book. Specifically, the part that I'm going to talk about today is how things are only limitations if you accept them in your mind as limitations. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and if you want to see more content like this, hit that subscribe button. Today, we're going to be doing a review of Think and Grow Rich. Now, I love this book so much that I'm going to do lots of little reviews of this book. Specifically, the part that I'm going to talk about today is how things are only limitations if you accept them in your mind as limitations. Now, there's a piece in this book that really helped guide me through some really tough times. Now, I'll tell you about the story and how we can think about that, and I'd love to know if you love this book, what your thoughts are, and yeah, go from there. But essentially, the guy that wrote Think and Grow Rich, he was telling a story about how there was a child born with no ears and no holes in the kid's head, so the sound could get in. And the dad essentially would not allow this kid to think of this as a disability, as a limitation. He wouldn't allow the child to think of it as a limitation in their own mind, just that they were unique and that they were special. So that's the basis of the story. The child grows up and essentially the dad, because he wouldn't allow the child to think of it as a disability, and he wouldn't allow him to think of it as a limiting factor in his own life, what the dad did is he used to read him books. But when he read him books, he'd put his lips to the child's head so he could feel the vibration and he could start to pick things up. He was slow at learning, obviously, with no ears and no holes in his head, but he started to pick things up. And then, as he's getting it, he starts to do like a paper round. There's a really inspiring story about how he doesn't allow this to stop him from doing his paper round. And all throughout his life, he's conquering challenges that could, if he allowed this, disability to be a limiting factor in his own mind, it could have limited him at any point. Now, there's a really special moment in the book where the kid then goes to university and he gets sent some hearing aid or some kind of like hearing device. He tries the hearing device in and it doesn't work. The guy's devastated and he's really upset. And because he kind of got his hopes up, thought it would work, thought it would change his life, but it didn't. Then he got another pair, but because he was so disappointed by the first hearing aid and that it didn't work, he waited, he delayed. Now, he was in class with everybody else, and there was a moment where he tried on this new headset, this new earphone, and after he tried it on, he could hear. It then says that he goes to the telephone box, picks up the phone, dials the number, he calls home, and for the first time in his life, he hears his mum's voice. That actually made me shed a tear when I was listening to it because it's so powerful. But it also points out that if this kid would have let that be a limiting factor and wouldn't have gone to college because he can't, if he would have allowed it to stop himself, he wouldn't have been able to get to the point where he was able to call his mum and hear her voice for the first time. Not only that, after he gets these earphones, he writes a letter to the company that made him and says, "Oh my God, this is phenomenal. It's changed my life, blah, blah, blah." The company then invites him down to the company and he does a tour, blah, blah, blah. And as he's doing a tour, he essentially, long story short, becomes the brand ambassador for that company globally. Him and his dad open up schools all across America and it helps kids learn that are in a similar situation, and it helps people that have difficulties not to allow those difficulties to be limiting factors in their own mind. And the author says the reason that he knows all this about this story is because this is his son. Mind blown. And one of the phenomenal things about that is not allowing things to be limitations is so strong, because when bad things happen to us, we can think of it as a limiting factor, or we can think of it as, the origin story, the thing that is that kicks you and then you get up, the thing that you thought was going to limit you, but you didn't allow it to, and because you didn't allow it, it didn't, and you went on and you won and you kicked ass. And that's the thing that I think is really important to take from that part of Think and Grow Rich, that nothing limits us unless we accept it as a limiting factor in our mind. Now personally, I've had to conquer a lot of these limiting factors, self-limiting factors. For example, I used to say, I'm slow at reading. I'm not slow at reading, I'm just not practiced at reading. And you might have things that you tell yourself. I used to say things along the lines of, because I'm Northern, XYZ, because I'm from this background, XYZ, and it's all lies that we tell ourselves. So as long as we don't allow something to be a self-limiting factor, or as long as we don't accept something as a limitation in our own mind, we can maybe achieve a lot more than we thought we could and we thought ever was possible. And that's something that I really love about Think and Grow Rich. Think and Grow Rich is like a Bible for people that are going through tough times and that just need a couple of stories to help them. And the way that I like to think about that story is, if a kid with no ears and no holes in his head can inspire thousands of people, probably millions across America, and help them learn, what can we do? What can I do? What can I, channel some of the things in my life, and how can I channel those things into a positive impact? So that's my brief overview of one of the stories of Think and Grow Rich. It's honestly a truly remarkable book. I'd give it 10 out of 10 because if you read it, it can change your life and it can change your mindset as well, which is, I suppose, you have to change your mindset before you can change your life. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and if you want to see more conversations about audiobooks, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you very soon. Hi guys, thanks for coming to my channel. This is where we're going to be looking at audiobooks and how we can improve what we can do and what we can learn from some of the best audiobooks in the world. And I want to let you in on a little secret. If you're not a fast reader, I'm not either. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be conquering that with audiobooks. We can listen to the audiobooks. I'll show you how. And if you have any questions, let me know. So let's get into this. I look forward to going on this journey with you.